Okay, Hare Krishna. Let's see a minute. Okay, so today is 29th of January, 1.2.28. Okay. Darshan. One point two point 28 Sampati. From Sampati Dwarakayam Trabinyams. No. Alright. This is Indra speaking from Narada. Samprati Dwarakayam cha tatrapi niyamostina kadachit pandavagare mathurayam kadachana. And now he's in Dwaraka. But even about this, there is no certainty. Sometimes he goes from there to the house of the Pandavas and sometimes to Mathura. Nanvidane parama prakataya prithvivyam avatinatva sulabhayaveti ashankyaha samprati. Indra then anticipates that Narada Muni is thinking the Supreme Lord has fully revealed himself and he has descended in Prithvi on earth. So he is very easily accessible. And anticipating that Narada Muni would have thought like that, he speaks text 28 onwards. He does not have a particular regulation where to stay in earth also, yataha, because kadachit dwarakayam kadachit pandavanam grihe tesham darshanadhyartham indraprasthadau idyartha. Sometimes he stays in Dwaraka, sometimes he stays at the home of the Pandavas in Indraprastha and so on. He wants to see them like that. Tata purvam cha mathurayam tatra tasyam api mathurayam puryam tatratya pure tat purvam api gokule. Before that, he had gone to Mathura city, and before that he had gone to Gokula. Tatra cha Vidvan sakashat vrindavanado kadachit kasminchid vana ityartha. And sometimes he goes to the forest. Puryam kadachit tatrapi gokulecha manad vane itham tasyava lokopi durlabho nah kutah kripa. In Mathura, furthermore, he sometimes in the city and sometimes wandering in Gokula from forest to forest. So it is difficult for us to see him. What to speak of obtaining his mercy? So in Mathura refers to before coming to Dwaraka. So he's sometimes in this in the city, but before that he was in Gokula, and near Gokula there is Vrindavan and so on. Various forests. Yadva. Another meaning. Tatra Dwarakayam vase api niyamaha asti. Even while he stayed in Dwaraka, he didn't have any regulation on where to stay. Kadachit Pandavagare, Kadachit Mathurayam. Sometimes he was in the home of the Pandavas, and sometimes he was in Mathura. Tadutta Prathamaskanthe Ananta Deshiye. This has been noted in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam by the residents of Dwaraka. Yarhyambujakshapa Sasara Bho Bhavan Kurun Madhun Vata Sukrit Didrikshaya Iti. O lotus-eyed Lord, you sometimes travel to see the Madhus, which means you go to Mathura, or you go to see your well-wishers. Mathurayam api kadachin, Mathupuryam kadachin Gokulechan. And in Mathura district, sometimes you are in Mathura city. Sometimes you are in Gokula. Tatrapicha vanadvana ityevam drishye satyapya aniyatvatvat parmarahasyattvat cha asmabhir agamyam eveti bhavaha. Even then, sometimes he goes to one forest, he goes to another forest. So even though theoretically he is accessible to vision, because sometimes he's here, sometimes he's there, it's not regulated, and because it's highly confidential. Indra is implying that for us, he is inaccessible. He cannot be seen. Ittha mukta prakarena tad darshanam api asmabhir yathasukam na prapyate. So according to what he has stated, we cannot see him according to our comfort. Kutosman pratitat krupasya. So whereas the question of having his mercy, Indra should be able to see Shri Krishna very easily, because when Indra speaks this verse, Krishna is appearing on earth. But the appearance of Shri Krishna is very confidential. Indra has difficulty understanding why the Lord, he knows as his brother, descended to earth. Sri Hari Vamsha states that when Narada had come previously as Krishna's messenger to ask Indra for the Parijata flower for Queen Satyabhama, Indra had expressed concern that his brother Krishna seemed to have become degraded by association with the residents of earth. In particular, Indra thought that Krishna was coming too much under the control of women. Indra is confused by Krishna's constant wandering on earth. The Lord spends a short time in Gokula, sporting in Mahavan, Vrindavan, and other forests. He then lives a few years in Mathura and finally settles down in Dwaraka. Still from there, he constantly travels to Mithila, to Hastinapur to visit the Pandavas, and also back to Vrajabhumi. Krishna does, in fact, sometimes return from Dwaraka to Vrindavan, as the residents of Dwaraka testify. Yarhyambuja kshapa sasarabho bhavan kurun madhun vata sukrit drikshaya tatrabdi koti pratimakshano bhavet ravim vinakshno rivanastavachuta. O lotus-eyed Lord, whenever you go away to Mathura, Vrindavan, or Hastinapur to meet your friends and relatives, every moment of your absence seems like 1,000,000 years. O infallible one, at that time our eyes become useless, as if bereft of the sun. So from this we understand that sometimes, even from Dwaraka, Krishna does go to Vrindavan. Indra directs Narada to Lord Brahma. Parameshti Suta Shrestha Kintu Swapitaram Hare Anugraha Padam Vidhi Lakshmikanta Suto Hisaha. But you should know, O best son of Brahma, that your own father is the true recipient of the favor of Lord Hari. He is directly the son of Lord Vishnu, the husband of Lakshmi. He Paramashtina Suteshu Sreshta Shri Narada Yadyapi Jaishthena Sanakadinam eva Shreshtam Saishtyam Uchitam Tathapi Bhagavad Bhakti Visheshena Asya Taduktam. Even though the four Kumaras are to be justly described as being the eldest amongst the sons of Lord Brahma, still Narada Muni is being described as the best son of Brahma, because he has a special devotion for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yasmat Satat Pita Lakshmi Kandasya Tasyeva Sutaha Yadyapi Bhagavan Navi Padma Deva Brahma Jataha. Now here he's been described as he's directly the son of the husband of Lakshmi. Sri Sanatana Goswami gives an explanation in this commentary Digdarshini. Even though Brahma has been born directly from the lotus that grew from the navel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Natu Lakshmi Garbhakta, not from the womb of Lakshmi Devi, Tathapi, because still, Tasya Putratvaina Tasya Api Putra, because he is the son of Lord Vishnu. He is accepted as the son of Shri or Lakshmi also. Edacha Brahmano Nishesha Sampat Satta Bodhanartham. This is to reveal the unlimited prosperity of the Lord's mercy in Lord Brahma. Brahma is directly the son of the Supreme Lord. The four Kumaras headed by Sanaka are senior to Narada by age, as are several other sons of Brahma, but Narada is superior by virtue of his pure devotion to Lord Lakshmi Kanta. But even better than the best son is the father, born not from Mother Lakshmi's womb, but directly from the navel of the Supreme Person. Yasyaikas dine shakra madrishas yus chaturdasha manvadi yukta yasyascha chaturyuga sahasrakam. In one day of Brahma, 14 Indras like me come and go, along with different sets of Manus and all the demigods. That one day equals 1,000 cycles of earthly ages. Adi Shabdena Deva Rishyo Manuputra Harer Ekaha Avatarascha. Okay, that we'll see. Nishacha Tava Nishacha Tavati Thamya Ahoratranam Shatatri Shashtittara Bhavedvarsham Yasya Yusta Chatam Shrutam. According to the scriptures, Brahma's night is of the same duration. 360 of such days and nights make one of his years, and his life lasts 100 years. 14 times in each day of Brahma, different Indras, sages, demigods, Manus, sons of Manu, and special incarnations of the Supreme Lord come and go. Manvantaram, Manurdeva, Manuputra, Sureshwara, Rishiyom Shavatarascha, Hare Shad Vidham Uchate. In each reign of Manu, 6 manifestations of Lord Hari appear. Indra, the chief demigods, the ruling Manu, the sons of Manu, the great sages, and the partial incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Purandara Indra has heard about all this too, but is too short-lived to have realized it directly. Okay, straight from the commentary, Sanatana Goswami. Lokanam Lokapalanam Apisrashtadhikarada Palakah Karma Phlado Ratro Samharakascha Saha. He is the creator of the planets and the rulers he assigns them. He is the world's chief protector, the dispenser of the fruits of karma, and at the onset of his night, the destroyer of the world. Adhikaradaha is the appointed of their positions. Adhikaraha Prajapatyaindradayaha Tandadati. He is the one who makes them, who makes souls who have the appropriate amount of punya or pious credits. He makes some Prajapatis, he makes some Indra and so on. Tatha so Palaka Yagyadi Pravartanena Swaswa Maryada Sapanadina Cha Karmanam Punya Papanam Phalam Sukadukam Dadati. He is their protector, Palakaha. He spreads the system of fire sacrifices and so on. He maintains everyone within their respective limit. He gives the results of the activities that are being performed. You engage in pious activities, he ensures that you get material happiness. You engage in simple activities, then he ensures that you get material unhappiness. तथा सह ब्रह्मण एव तथा तत्तद् विहितत्वात् एवं पदत्रयेण स्थितिकर्तृत्वम् उक्तं स्वरात्रौ सत्यां यथोक्तं हिरण्यकशिपुना सप्तमस्कन्धे आत्मना त्रिवृता चेदं सृजत्य अवतिलुम्पति रजसत्त्वतमो धाम्ने पराय महते नमः इति. These are things which we will see in the next. Yeah. Sahasra Shirsha Yalloke Samahapurusha Sputam Bhunjano Yagya Bhagaugham Vasatyananda Sada. The Mahapurusha, the 1,000-headed form of the Lord, is always directly visible on Brahma's planet, personally accepting the countless oblations offered him, and thus always giving delight to his devotees. At the beginning of each day of his life, Lord Brahma appoints qualified candidates to serve as Indra, the sages, the Prajapatis, and other demigods. Also, he protects the universe from chaos by establishing Vedic sacrifice and the social laws for individual classes of human beings. So he provides for duties for women, duties for men. Within duties for men, there are duties for the different varnas, duties for the different ashramas, and so on. Thus, Brahma not only creates the universe, but maintains it as well. Indra also says that he destroys it because when Lord Brahma goes to sleep at night, a break in his meditation partially devastates the universe. Okay. When Hiranyakashipu worshipped Brahma with the demoniac aim of subverting the universal order, he glorified Brahma similarly. Kalpante kala srishtena yondhena tamsabritam abhivyanag jagadidam swayam jyotisvarochisha atmana tribhrita chedam srijatya vadyalumbati rajasattva tamodhamne parayam hate namah. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Lord within this universe. At the end of each day of his life, the universe is fully covered with dense darkness by the influence of time. And then again, during his next day, that self-effulgent Lord, by his own effulgence, manifests, maintains, and destroys the entire cosmic manifestation through the material energy which is invested with the three modes of material nature. He, Lord Brahma, is the shelter of those modes of nature, Sattva-guna, Rajoguna, and Tamoguna. Living together with Brahma on his planet is incarnate Lord.
Seven cups of spinach. I'll come and cook.
Living together with Brahma on his planet is incarnation of the Supreme Lord called the Mahapurusha. He is the 1,000-headed first incarnation, Mahavishnu, whose further expansion is Garbhodakashayi Vishnu. Both of these forms are described in Srimad Bhagavatam in the first and second cantos. Adhyovatara Purusha Parasya, the first descent of the Supreme into the material world is the Mahapurusha. Jagrahe Paurusham Rupam Bhagavan Maharadibhihi Sambhutam Shodashakalam Madolokas Srikshaya. In the beginning of the creation, the Lord first expanded himself in the universal form of the Purusha incarnation and manifested all the ingredients for the material creation. And thus, at first, there was the creation of the 16 principles of material action. This was for the purpose of creating the material universe. Yasyam Hrasishayanasya Yoganidram Vitanvataha Nabhi Hradam Pujadasid Brahma Vishwasrajam Patihi. A part of the Purusha lies down within the water of the universe. From the navel lake of his body sprouts a lotus stem, and from the lotus flower atop the stem, Brahma, the master of all engineers in the universe, becomes manifest. Yasya Preva Samsthane Kalpito Lokavistara Tadvai Bhagavato Rupam Vishuddham Sattvam. It is believed that all the universal planetary systems are situated on the extensive body of the Purusha, but he has nothing to do with the created material ingredients. His body is eternally in spiritual existence par excellence. Pashyantyadoru Mamatadbracha Sahasrapado Bhujananadbhutam Sahasramurtha Shravanakshi Nasikam Sahasramulyam Varakundalolasat. The devotees with their perfect eyes see the transcendental form of the Purusha, who has thousands of legs, thighs, arms, and faces, all extraordinary. In that body, there are thousands of heads, ears, eyes, and noses. They are decorated with thousands of helmets and glowing earrings and are adorned with garlands. Etannanam ataranam nidhanam bijamavyam yasyam sham shena srijyante devattiryam naradayah. This form is a source, an indestructible seed of multifarious incarnations within the universe. From the particles and portions of this form, different living entities like demigods, men, and others are created. Then Sri Sanatana Goswami gives an explanation to these verses, which is also paraphrased here in English. Lord Mahapurusha is the support of material nature, and so he is described as the original source of the basic causes of creation, the 5 gross elements and 11 senses. He performs his pastime of creation while lying in the ocean that fills the bottom half of the universe. From his navel appears a lotus stem, from which all the forms and configurations of material existence will be manifest. And at the top of the stem grows a flower where Brahma, the chief engineer of creation, is born. Brahma discovered inside the lotus stem of his birth the detailed plans of creation. Tadvilokya vyadvya pushkaram yat tadishtita anena lokan praglinan kalpitasmi tyachintayat. Brahma saw that the lotus on which he was situated was spread throughout the universe, and he contemplated on how to create all the planets which were previously merged in that very same lotus. Padmakosham tada vishya bhagavat chaktito choditaha evam vibhang shi urudha tridha bhavyam visaptadha. Thus engaged in the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Brahma entered into the world of the lotus. And as it spread all over the universe, he divided it into 3 divisions of worlds and later into 14 divisions. So in meditation, it is stated in the 3rd canto, okay. In meditation, Brahma discovered the 1,000-headed Mahapurusha, who at first had been invisible to him from his lotus seat. He offered prayers to that Lord and made a special request. My dear Lord, may you come and live on my planet in this very form. Thus, the first Lord of the creation became Brahma's constant guest. Okay. The Mahapurusha is called Vishuddham, all pure, because even while giving shelter to the material energy, he remains untouched by the faults of matter. He is Satvam, substantial reality, because he is the all-pervading absolute truth. He is an incarnation of Godhead, but is also called the fountainhead of all other incarnations. This can be said because he is the total support of material nature, and as such, he is almost as complete manifestation of the Supreme as the master of Vaikuntha, Sri Narayana. This portion is straight. Portion is straight from the commentary. In addition, almost all incarnations of Narayana appear in this world during the rule of the Mahapurusha's appointed servant Brahma. And that explains why that particular form of the Lord is described as the seed for the incarnations. The 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam describes Lord Mahapurusha. Bhuter yada panchabhe ratma srishtai puram virajam virachayatas swamshena vishtah purushabhidanam avapanara yana adideva. When the primeval Lord Narayana created his universal body out of 5 elements produced from himself, and then entered within that universal body by his own plenary portion. He thus became known as the Purusha. Yatkaya Esha Bhuvanatraya Sannivesho Yasyendriyais Tanuvritam Ubhayendriyani Jnanam Swata Shvasanato Balamoja Iha Satpadibhir Stitilayodbhava Adikarta, elaborately arranged within his body are the three planetary systems of this universe. His transcendental senses generate the knowledge acquiring and active senses of all embodied beings. His consciousness generates conditioned knowledge, and his powerful breathing produces the bodily strength, sensory power, and conditioned activities of the embodied souls. He is the prime mover through the agency of the material modes of goodness, passion, and ignorance. And thus the universe is created, maintained, and annihilated. The Mahaprusha produced the total body of the universe and entered it as his pastime. But he did not do so for his own enjoyment. Rather, the enjoyer of the universal body is the most pious of conditioned beings, Brahma. Prabhu punya se jiva se tatra bhaktatva. It is for Brahma. The Lord in his creative feature is called Purusha because he lays down Shete within the city, Pur, of the universal shell. His beautiful body accommodates all the three worlds, and his pastimes consists of creation, maintenance, and annihilation. Okay. As Indra is stating, Lord Mahapurusha on Brahmaloka consumes the offerings made in sacrifice, which resemble a constantly flowing river, because on Brahmaloka so many sacrifices are always being performed. There's a portion of Sri Sanatana Goswami's commentary here which appears a little earlier in the English commentary. Okay, here, Yajna Bhaganam Okam Samuham Pravaha Nyayana Satatam Tatra Yajna Ganam Pravritte. So constantly one sacrifice after another is going on. In Brahmaloka, they're all Brahmanical and they only engage in devotional service unto the Supreme Lord. We'll have a better idea of life in Brahmaloka later on in the second part of Bhagavatamrita. Thanks to the Lord's being satisfied by those offerings, the inhabitants of Brahma's planet are perpetually blissful. So therefore, the Lord always makes them delighted, happy. यद्यपि कदाचित् मथुरायां संपूर्णतया भगवतोऽवतीर्णत्वात् तदानीमस्य ब्रह्मलोके वासः न स्यात् तथापि ब्रह्मकालस्य महत्तातिशयापेक्षया तदवतरणकालस्य अत्यन्त स्वल्पतरत्वेन सदा इत्युक्तिर्घटत एव. It is true that Lord Mahapurusha is sometimes absent when he merges into Sri Krishna to join him in Mathura Dham on earth, and the ecstasy on Brahmaloka is accordingly interrupted. But time on Brahmaloka is so expansive that the duration of Sri Krishna's descent is barely noticeable. In effect, on Brahmaloka, Lord Mahapurusha is seen constantly. Evam agrepi nityam idicha. In the future also, you will come across statements that he is eternally there. Yadiva atra sadetyasya yathanardesham anandam ityanenaiva sambandha. Another meaning that can be derived from this verse is he keeps the residents of Brahmaloka always happy. Okay. Ittham yukti sahasraisa Shri Krishnasya kripaspadam. Kim vaktavyam kripapatram iti Krishna saevahi. I could give you thousands of other reasons why Brahma is a real object of Shri Krishna's mercy. What more needs to be said? He is in fact Krishna himself. Ittham evam prakara ityartha sat parameshti prabho Shri. Okay, hey Shri Narada. Tan maduktam kripa aspadatvam krishnatvam just shruti smriti nam vakyabhya prasiddham. It is well known from the Shruti and Smriti that Brahma is described as Krishna. So you will be knowing this. That Shrutis Mritivakyabhya Prasiddham Gyayate Tvaya Anyacha Tasya Mahatmyam Tal Lokanam Prabhu. You know this, since it is proclaimed in Shruti and Smriti. You must also be familiar, my Lord, with other aspects of Brahma's greatness and the greatness of the residents of this planet. The greatness of those who live in Brahmaloka. Bhagavad Bhakti Pravartanam. Tat Paratmadikam Chat Tvaya Gyayate. You know that the residents of Brahmaloka, they simply spread devotion, service unto the Supreme Lord. And for them, that is the greatest priority, and so on. That is noted in. Okay, so then we note in the fourth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Many scriptures, including Srimad Bhagavatam, teach that Lord Brahma is an empowered incarnation of Vishnu. Sri Bhagavan Vacha, Aham Brahma Cha Shadvascha, Jagatah Karanam Param, Atmeshwara Upadrashta Swayam Drigga Visheshana, Atmam Mayam Samavishya, Soham Gunamayin Vija, Surjan Rakshan Haran Vishwam Dadhre Sangyam Kriya Chittam. Lord Vishnu said, Brahma, Lord Shiva and I are the supreme cause of the material manifestation. I am the super soul, the self-sufficient witness. But impersonally, there is no difference between Brahma, Lord Shiva and me. My dear Daksha Dvija, I am the original personality of Godhead, but in order to create, maintain and annihilate this cosmic manifestation, I act through my material energy, and according to the different grades of activity, my representations are differently named. Trayanam eka bhavanam yonat pashyati vai bhidam sarva bhutatmana brahman sashanti madhyachati. One who does not consider Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva or the living entities in general to be separate from the Supreme, and who knows Brahman actually realizes peace. Others do not. So there are several statements which keep saying that the Lord Brahma is Lord Vishnu because he is empowered. He is a Gunavatar of Lord Vishnu. Narada sees the Mahapurusha on Brahmaloka. Now Narada Muni goes to Brahmaloka and he gets to see the Supreme Lord in the form of the Mahapurusha. Shri Parikshitu Acha Indrasya Vachanam Shutva Sadhu Bho Sadhriti Bruvan Paravan Brahmano Lokam Bhagavan Narado Gatah. Shri Parikshit said, having heard these words from Indra, godly Narada replied, well said, sir, well said, and hastily went to Brahma's planet. Vijnana Mahatam Tatra Brahmarshibhir Anaratam Bhaktya Vitayamananam Praghosham Duratoshranam. There Narada first heard from a distance the huge sound of the many great sacrifices performed unceasingly and with great devotion by the sages on Brahmaloka. Tatra Brahmaloki Vitayamananam Vistarena Anushthiyamananam. Vedic in Brahmaloka, the sacrifices were performed with great elaboration. They were all very elaborately performed. Vedic sacrifices may be performed simply or elaborately according to the resources and ambitions of the performers. More than any other Brahmanas in the universe, the residents of Brahma's planet are willing and able to carry out the longest, most complex sacrifices. Thus, Narada's first impression of Brahmaloka from the din of the many sacrifices being performed was of a very busy place. Tatarshacha tatasteshu prasannah parameshwara mahapurusharupena jatamandala. He then beheld among the sages the Supreme Lord in his Mahapurusha form, looking very much satisfied, decorated with crowns of matted locks. Tataha Shavananantaram Tadashacha Nardeva. So having heard about Mahapurusha, now we saw the Mahapurusha. Him Tadahate Shvityadina Vidhiragata Ityantena. So this description of Lord Mahapurusha starts here with text 39 and ends in text 43. Rameshwara Prasanna San Deshu Yagyesh Mahavusharupena Virbhuya Yajnanameva Bhagan Dadat Ghanan Yajakan Brahmaship Prabhaktin Anandayati Dvabhyaman Anvaya. So the Supreme Lord, being satisfied with them, he accepted the shares of the sacrificial shares, the Yajna Bhav, and he delighted the Brahmarshis and others who were worshipping him. Sahasramurdha Bhagavan Yajnamurti Shriya Saha Avirbhuya Dadat Bhagan Anandayati Ajakan. The Lord in his 1,000-headed form, the personification of sacrifice, and appeared there with this consort just to accept the offerings and delight his worshippers. He came along with his consort, Shri, the goddess of fortune. Lord Mahapurusha is the originator of sacrifices and is there presiding. The Yajnamurti is the Pradhishtata. He is the very form of sacrifice. He is the very personification of sacrifice, meaning he is there presiding deity. Atayeva tat phaladanena veda paranam yajakanam ashvasanartham Shrauta Purusha Sukto Dishta Mahapurusha Rupa Virbhavanam Nityabhidyayam. It should be understood that because he is the presiding deity of the fire sacrifices, he grants the results of such fire sacrifices for the sake of those who engage in such sacrifices and worship. And because they are fixed in the Vedas, they are absorbed in carrying out the various duties that are spelled out in the Vedas. He wants to pacify them and console them. Therefore, as described in the Purusha Sukta, the Purusha Sukta describes the Supreme Lord as having thousands of heads and so on. He appears in that very form. Nacha kevalam yajna bhagas vicara eva. This is not just to accept the multiple sacrificial remnants. It is to give them faith in that very form which is taught in the Vedas as the Mahapurusha. Look, here I am with all of those teachers. Literally, as described in the Purusha Sukta of the Rig Veda, at the beginning of creation, the first sacrifice of the universe was performed, and for this sacrifice, Lord Mahapurusha provided the sacrificial ingredients from his own body. The Lord reveals himself in this form on Brahmaloka, not simply to take his offerings, but to please his worshippers. He enjoys personally distributing the remnants of sacrifice. Padmayone prahashartham dravyajatam niveditam sahasrapanibhirvaktra sahasre sharpayan nadam. To enliven lotus-born Brahma, the Lord consumed all the items offered him, placing them into his 1,000 mouths with his 1,000 hands. Into sakshata dravya bhakshanam yajamana abhishta varadanadikam apityaha. But his eating all of those items which have been offered as sacrifice, and he was eating right in front of them. That, as well as granting boons or benedictions to those who are participating in these fire sacrifices. That was another reason. He wanted to directly eat in front of them, and he wanted to give them various boons and so on. This is noted in text 41 and 42. It's not that they just gave him, they just offered that the sacrificial offering. In fact, he took it and he ate. They, of course, offered it to him so that he can eat. Yadva heto shatrin attumityartha athava anena bhojana atruptir bodhyate. And the Lord was not bored. So from this we understand that he ate a lot. Ishtan varan sada tadrishi yajya sinthya deen lakshmiya samvahyamana Samvahyamano Angripada Padme, that will come here. Datveshtan Yajamane Vyo Varanidra Griham Gataha Lakshmi Samvahyamana Nidra Madatta Leelaya. After awarding the performers of the sacrifices the benedictions they decide, Lord Mahapurusha went to his sleeping quarters. As the goddess Lakshmi massaged his feet, he entered his pastime of sleep. Brahmalokecha Bhagavataha Yagyasvikaraha Sukta Chayanam Cheti Pradhanyena Leela Dvayam Sri Vaishampaya Nenapi Kalanemi Vadhanantram Uktamasti. That the Supreme Personality of Godhead accepts the offerings for sacrifice and that he goes to sleep happily, these two being his primary pastimes there, has been noted by Sri Vaishampayana. After a description of the killing of Kalanemi. To relieve the worshippers of any doubt as to whether he was enjoying the oblations, Lord Mahapurusha ate the oblations with relish and without hesitation, as long as the offerings continued. When the offerings were finished, the Lord blessed the sages with benedictions fulfilling their desires, such as the desire that they always be able to perform similar sacrifices. So they are only interested in devotional service unto the Supreme Lord. So therefore, he blessed them with a benediction that they be capable of doing the same thing again. Lord Mahapurusha and the goddess of fortune then went to their private quarters to rest. This time, he was no longer visible to the residents of Brahmaloka. The two principal pastimes of Lord Mahapurusha on Brahmaloka, his accepting sacrifices and his sleeping, are described by Vaishampayana Rishi in the Mahabharata at the end of the account of the killing of Kalanemi. Vaishampayana says, Satpradarsham Makheshwa Jair Ijyamanam Maharshibhi Bhagam Yagyam Ashanam Swamdeham Aparam Sthitam. He saw the Lord in yet another of his forms, consuming his share of the oblations of ghee offered in sacrifices by great sages. Satatra Pravishanneva Jadabharam Samudvahan Sahasrashara So Bhutva Shayanayopachakrame. The 1,000-headed Lord, his heads covered with matted locks, entered that room and lay down to sleep. Evam Sri Bhagavataha Asya Brahmaloke Sada Prakatim Nivasye Vartamanepi Dashamaskandharambe Sri Shukevatam Dharaniwakya Devagana Sahitasya Sri Brahmana Kshirod. Okay. Here. That's all coming here. Thank you. According to Sri Sukadeva Goswami's account at the beginning of the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, at the end of Dwapara Yuga, Lord Brahma and the other demigods on the request of the earth personified approached Lord Vishnu on Shvetadvi from the shore of the milk ocean. One might ask why they needed to travel the Shvetadvi if Lord Vishnu is always present in Brahma's own domain. Although this journey was strictly speaking unnecessary, during some days of Brahma, the pastime of entreating Lord Krishna to descend unfolds in this way. During other days of Brahma, such as the one described in Sri Harivamsha, Lord Vishnu is approached on Brahmaloka itself. Srila Sanatana Goswami suggests that Brahma and the others may have gone to Shvetadvi because they felt reluctant to disturb Lord Mahapurusha's privacy while he was enjoying his sleep. Or else Brahma may have calculated that if Lord Mahapurusha were to descend to earth at his request, Brahmaloka would be bereft of his presence for the duration of the avatar. It would be better, therefore, to go to the milk ocean and ask Lord Vishnu there to become the avatar. Well, straight from Sri Sanatana Goswami. In any case, when Sri Krishna descends, all the expansions of Godhead appear within him, including Lord Mahapurusha and the Lord of Shvetadvi. Thus to say that Krishna descends through one form of Vishnu or another makes little difference. Krishna alone is the ultimate source of all avatars. Tada Tat Agya cha Yagyeshu Niyujya Rshim Nijatmajan Brahmanda Karya Chartham Swam Dhishnyam Vidhiragataha. At the Lord's request, Brahma then instructed his sons to continue the sacrifices while he went to his own royal court to deliberate on the management of the universe. Tasya Bhagavata Agyaya, on the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Nidraya Purvameva, even before the Lord went to sleep, Srimukhena Sakshat Kritaya Kriti Antaryami Tayava. On the order of the Lord means it could have come from his lotus mouth, or as a super soul, the inner ruler within the heart of Brahma, the Lord might have ordered him. Because sometimes the Lord does like this, sometimes the Lord does like that. Kimva Nitya Pratipalyam Ma Maya Sutiru Maya Swam Swatiyam Dhishnyam Alayam. Okay, that comes in. Just before Lord Mahapurusha went to his quarters to rest, he advised Brahma to turn the sacrifices over to his sons. This deputing of Brahma's sons as authorities in Vedic sacrifice confirms the Supreme Person's eternal instructions recorded in the Vedas. The Vedas describe that Brahma is the first Vedic priest, followed by his sons who teach the methods of sacrifice, thereafter the people of the universe. So this is done in order to preserve and carry out the instructions of the Shruti. Narada praises Brahma. Brahma is the greatest of all the souls in the universe. And you cannot become the greatest of all the souls in the universe if you don't engage in devotional service unto the Supreme Lord. That's a simple fact. Parameshchya sanne tatra sukhasinam nija prabho mahima shravana yan param sasrashta netrakam Vichitra Paramaishwarya Samagri Parisevitam Sutatam Narado Bhyetya Pranamyo Vacha Dandavat. As Brahma sat comfortably on his universal throne, absorbed in hearing and reciting the glories of his Lord, tears flowed from his 8 eyes. Surrounding Lord Brahma in attendance were the personified powers of universal rulership. Narada came close, offered respects to his father by falling to the ground like a stick, and then spoke. Evam swa abhipretasya arthasya purvavad bhagadagre prastavam anuchitam anmanaha aso udurata eva sitva tatsarvam alokya. So like in the previous instance, it would be inappropriate to glorify Brahma in the presence of the Supreme Lord and speak whatever he had wanted to speak. He thought like Narada thought in this manner. So therefore, in Brahmaloka, when all these sacrifices, everything was going on, Narada Muni had just stayed from a distance and watched what had happened. Vashi Bhagavad Parshveva Upagamya Drishta An Avasare Tat Prasangam Akritva Yatha Sthapanam Yatha Avasaram Eva Akarod Tyaha Para Iti Dvabhya. So at the right time, the right opportunity, he spoke to Lord Brahma. While the Supreme Lord was present, Narada did not speak his mind. Either he thought that speaking would be improper, or he found no opportunity to say anything until after the Lord had left. Only then could Narada offer full obeisances to his father, because one is generally forbidden to bow down to anyone else in the presence of the Supreme Lord. Since Brahma is both Narada's father and his spiritual master, Narada may have bowed only his head to Brahma in front of Lord Vishnu, but bowed down with his whole body after Lord Vishnu had left. These are all finer points of etiquette. Brahma's attention was now fixed on hearing about the great qualities of Lord Vishnu, such as his exceptional kindness to his devotees. Purta Abhigamya Pranamyacha Bhagavadagre Anya Pranama Nishitheti Tadanim Apramanatvam Yadva Paramagurtvena Dosha Abhava Purumeva Nanamaiva. Okay. See, that's a rule that in front of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, you cannot offer obeisances to anyone else. It's a general rule. In front of the deity, of Lord Vishnu. You cannot offer obeisances to anyone else. But because Lord Brahma is the supreme guru of the universe, then there is no fault in offering obeisances to him. Shri Naradu Vachan, Bhavayeva Kripapatram Dhruvam Bhagavato Hare, Prajapati Padaryo Vai Sarvaloka Pitamaha. Shri Narada said, it is you who have truly received the mercy of Lord Hari. All, you are the master of all masters, of the living beings of the universe, the grandfather of all the worlds. Kripapatrata Lakshananyaha Prajeti Sartha Shakyena. And then from text 46, he describes the various symptoms of being the recipient of Krishna's supreme mercy in 6.5 verses. Ekasrajatipatyati bhuvanani chaturdaša brahmandasyeshvaro nityam swayambhuryascha kathyate. You alone create, maintain and devour the 14 worlds. You forever rule the universe and you are known as the self-born. Devours means destroys. Nityamiti na hi indradivat pralayeshvapi kadachit aishwarya bhramsheti bhava. Forever. You forever rule the universe, not like Indra. Indra does not rule the universe during dissolution. At no point in time does Lord Brahma lose his opulence. Forever. In text 46 through 52, Narada enumerates the reasons for Brahma's being the most favored devotee of the Lord. Brahma's reign is not limited like those of Indra and other demigods. He maintains his position uninterrupted by the many partial annihilations that affect the lower regions of the universe. Sabhayam yasya vidyante murtimantortha bodhakah yat chaturvaktrato jata purana nigama dayaha. Present in person in the assembly are the Vedas, Puranas and other scriptures, the revealers of truth, who were born from your 4 mouths. Arthana, Dharmadina, Sadhananam cha Vyapakaha. The Vedas, Puranas and other scriptures, they reveal the truth. They express the truth. The truth about what? The truth about Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, Bhagavad Prema. And the means by which one can attain Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha and Bhagavad Prema. Yasya bhavatas chatubhya vatribhya eva avirbhuta. They were born from your 4 mouths, all the 4 mouths. Eva akila jnana sampatya atishayo darshita. In this way, he points out that Lord Brahma is abundantly filled with the prosperity of all Vedic knowledge. Although the 4 Vedas are eternal, they enter the material world periodically. At the beginning of each day of Brahma, when one Veda appears from each of his 4 mouths. Brahma, therefore, is not the author of the Vedas, which include all spiritual and material knowledge, but he is Adi Kavi, the first authority on Vedic knowledge in this universe. Yasya lokascha nishchidra swadharma charanishtaya madade rahite sadbhir labhyate shatajanma bhihi. Your world can be attained only by saintly persons who faultlessly perform their prescribed social duties free from pride and other vices for 100 lifetimes. So for 100 lifetimes, they have to faultlessly engage in that swadharma. Strictly. That is one condition. They also cannot have pride or other such attitudes which are disqualifications. They have to be saintly. Then they can they get residence in Brahmaloka. Aho astu tavat dure tava mahatma. Oh, why should I talk about your glory? Tal lokasyapi mahimadbhuta ityashena yasyati chatur. Even the greatness of your world is astonishing. With this in mind, he speaks 4 verses beginning with the current verse, 49. Etasya swadharmanishta shatajanmabhih puman virinchitameti. Again comes here. Iti Shri Rudraena Chaturtha Skandhe Yaduktam Tat Anusarena Uhyam. Brahma's character is exalted and his plan glorious. Saintly persons who follow prescribed duties for 100 lives without error and without falling prey to pride, deceit, and other causes of deviation become eligible for birth on Brahmaloka. Lord Shiva says in his instructions to the Prachetas, Swadharmanishta Shatajanmabhih Puman Virinchatameti. A person who executes his occupational duty properly for 100 births becomes qualified to occupy the post of Brahma. The position of Brahma earned by pious workers normally consists in being an associate of Brahma. Receiving a universe of one's own to rule is much more rare. Yasyo parinavarteta brahmande bhuvanam param loko narayanasyapi vaikunthakyo yadantari. Within the universe, there is no higher world than yours. Even Lord Narayana's Vaikuntha planet is found inside your world. It's the highest world. There's no other, higher than Satyaloka, there's no material world. But the Vaikuntha Loka certainly is superior to my world. Doesn't it exist? So Narada Muni anticipates that and he says, the second half of this verse, even Lord Narayana's Vaikuntha planet is found inside your world. It's not separate. It is inside your world. Yasmin nityam vaset saksha maha purusha vigraha sab padmanabho yajnanam bhaganashtam tatat phalam. On Brahmaloka, Lord Narayana resides always in his manifest form as the lotus-navel Mahapurusha. He eats his shares of sacrifice and grants the sacrificial results. Yasmin Vaikuntha Loke. In that Vaikuntha world, Sakshat Drishyatam Prapta, the Supreme Lord makes himself visible. He is directly visible to everyone. So he fulfills he grants benedictions, he enjoys the various offerings that are offered to him, and so on. Pramanveshanaya sair yasyodesho pinatvaya pura praptah param drishtas tapobhir tadiyah kshanam. Although in the distant past you made many attempts and were unable to find him, after performing austerities, you finally saw him just for a moment in your heart. Alabhya labhena bhagavad kripa vishesham varnayitum Shri Padmanabhasya Paramadurlabhatamaha Paramet. Attaining Lord Padmanabha, Lord Shri Padmanabha, the Supreme Lord, who has a lotus navel, is very rare. He states that in order to point out that to attain the special mercy of Bhagavan is to attain the unattainable. The Supreme Lord from whose navel Brahma is born is extremely difficult to find. Brahma's having obtained the virtually unobtainable is evidence that the Lord has special regard for him. Lord Brahma, to search for his origin, first entered the stem of his lotus seed. For a long time, he traced the stem back, searching for its source, even in the ocean that fills the lower regions of the universe, but he could find nothing. What to speak of identifying his Lord and understanding him, Brahma failed even to locate him physically. Lord Vishnu then graced him with a simple spoken instruction: do penance. Brahma obeyed. after long meditation received a short vision of the Lord. All of these details are found in the second canto and so on. So one can consult the second canto and so on. The history is described in detail in the second and third cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam. The Saksha Nityam Yasmin Vasedi. Oh, it's fine. Okay. Any questions? Not down. Wait. Next is 53, 1.2.53. 1.2.53. Oh, just 1 minute. Yes. Hare
Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandapranam. Prabhuji, 2 questions. I noticed that sometimes this particular literature is written in present tense and sometimes in past tense. So what is the reason? Like, is it, I mean, imaginary, just a tale, or is it reality?
What is written in present tense? What is written in past tense here?
I mean, so many shlokas you read. So some of the things have to be are seen as something that has happened in the past, and then some of the things they are saying are actually in the present. So is this something which has happened in the past, or it's happening, or it's an imaginary?
There are some activities which are eternal, like how do you go to Brahmaloka? This is an eternal process. Always, every time you want to go to Brahmaloka, you have to perform. You have to carry out your swadharma without fault, without any of the anarthas for 100 lifetimes. That has to be described in the present. That cannot be described in the past because it's an eternal regulation. Like that.
One question, Prabhuji, I think it was verse 30 probably. It was written about rain of Manu, something like that. Somewhere around 30 or 31 like that. Rain of Manu, I think. So I just wanted to understand what is the rain of Manu is different from the rain of Indra, or like in one Indra's lifetime there is one Manu, or?
No, that Manvantara, that is the reign of Manu. And every Manvantara, the Indra changes. I mean, Indra along with the Saptarshis, there are certain devas who come to assist Indra. That whole cabinet changes.
Okay, so Manu and Indra, like there's one, and for one Manu there is one Indra, like is it like that, no? Together?
Yeah, in 8th canto comes.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Anything else? Okay, if there are further questions, you can bring it up in Telegram. Thank you.